A pleasant day, everyone. Welcome to Teacher Tinitin's classroom. This is Mrs. Christine Tuano, your English teacher for the day. So, English 10 Quarter 3 is all about writing an argumentative essay. This is the second part of our discussion on composing an argumentative essay. In the previous lesson, we discussed the different ways to develop your thesis statement. The thesis statement is very important because it will tell us on what we need to research on for our argumentative essay and what are the things that we need to point out in our argumentative essay. So as I've said, this is already our workshop on composing an argumentative essay. To be able to achieve it, the following objectives would help. First, we have to differentiate the parts of an essay. Second, we have to identify the qualities of a good essay. And third, we have to create an essay. This is not just a simple essay. We have to write an argumentative essay. So, what is an essay? An essay is simply an organized piece of writing with a focused topic. Take note of the word organized, meaning an essay should be well planned and, of course, should have undergone refinement or editing. An essay should also include an introduction, body, and conclusion, wherein each section has a specific information and purpose. So as I've said, we're going to focus on the different parts of an essay. First, we're going to talk about introduction and how to undergo or how to write your introduction. Next, we're going to talk about the body or wherein we're going to focus on the SEW technique in writing the body of your essay and of course our conclusion. So, how do we write the introduction? An introduction should first grab the reader's interest. When we say grabbing the reader's interest, it means that it should create a good impression. It should also have a hook in our lesson, in our text. Next, it should bring in the general topic for the paper. It should tell the reader what to expect upon reading the text. And of course, we have to state the thesis or the specific point of the essay. This is where your thesis statement comes in. First, how do we create the hook or how can we grab the reader's interest? A hook can be a relevant quote, a personal anecdote, an amazing statistics, or a provocative statement. When we say provocative statement, it can be a statement that is has an intensified emotion. It can also be an argumentative or debatable sentence, just like our example. Some believe that if workplace safety preserves just one human life, it is worth it, but others disagree. So this is a provocative statement because you are introducing a debatable sentence. Next, it should bring in the general topic for the paper. So it tells us what your general topic or subject for your text. Example, one of the most important aspects on the job is work safety. But is the cost and the effort proportional to the return? Here, our topic is all about work safety and the cost and effort that is related to work safety. The last thing that we have to take note in writing the introduction is that we have to state the thesis or the specific point of the essay. The thesis tells the reader what to expect from the rest of the paper. Example, safe working environments are actually more profitable to the employer in the long run than unsafe ones. Here, we can see the point of the writer and of course his stand. So the point or the limited subject is safe working environments. And the stand or the controlling idea is that they are actually more profitable to the employer in the long run than unsafe ones. Now, how do we put them together? Let's take a look at the sample introductory paragraph. If it saves just one human life, it is worth it. This is our provocative statement earlier, if you remember. One of the most important aspects of the job is work safety. But is the cost and the effort proportional to the return? Safe working environments are actually more profitable to the employer in the long run than unsafe ones. Here you would notice that we just put in together all our sentences to create a good introduction. Now, let's go now to writing the body. In writing the body, I will teach you the SEW method. The SEW method actually stands for S, meaning say what the evidence is. E, example, wherein we have to give an example situation of the evidence. And 3, why, we tell why the evidence is important. So the SEW is actually stands for say, example, and why. Let's have this example number 1. The supervisor responsible for training at 3 Mile Island Nuclear Generating Station didn't behave ethically. In this memo of July 11, 1978, he ordered his team not to include new information on how to handle a low coolant event. According to Markel's guideline for technical writing, deliberately suppressing information is unethical, and in this case, the accident had caused economic and serious public relations consequences. So we have here the say, or what we call as stating the evidence, which is the supervisor responsible for training 3 Mile Island Nuclear Generating Station didn't behave ethically. And we have here the example situation wherein in his memo, so we're justifying why we say that he didn't behave ethically. In his memo of July 11, 1978, he ordered his team not to include new information. And of course, why they are connected is because we are talking about an evidence taken from Markel's guidelines for technical writing, wherein it states deliberately suppressing information is unethical, thus justifying why we said that the supervisor is behaving or didn't behave ethically. Okay? Now let's go to example number 2. The case of Union Carbide in India illustrates this point about the importance of safety. In the early morning of December 3, 1984, gas leaked from a faulty tank at the Union Carbide facility, totally disabling 40 people, partially disabling 2,680 persons, and killing 3,800. The executives of Union Carbide were permanently disgraced, and the company was fined $470 million by the Indiana government. So what is our statement? Our statement is that the Union Carbide in India points out the importance of safety. So why is safety important? Okay, it's because of the example situation or the situation that they said that happened during December 3, 1984, wherein a gas leak from a faulty tank, okay, disabled and killed a lot of people. And why are they related to one another? Because the Union Carbide were permanently disgraced. And aside from that, they were also fined. So this is what we call a the SAW or SEW method. Now, we have to take note that in writing our SAW, we have to connect the different body paragraphs by using transitional devices to help your reader move smoothly from one example to another. We're going to discuss this in another lesson, but what are the different transitional devices that we can use? We can say in the same way, on the other hand, in addition. Again, we are going to talk about transitional devices in another lesson. Okay? But for now, let's focus first on the different parts of how we can develop our essays, argumentative essay. Now, let's go to writing the conclusion. When we're writing the conclusion, we have to first reconnect it to the introduction. As we stated earlier, the thesis statement can also be found in our conclusion. That's why we have to summarize also the points that we have to focus on. That's why we have to also take note of the evidences that we have. And of course, we have to leave memorable message for the reader. Now, how do we reconnect to the introduction? Of course, by restating our thesis statement. Example, is the cost of safety worth to the price a company must pay to ensure safety? This is a restatement of our thesis statement. If you would notice, I just changed the thesis statement into an interrogative sentence. Next, we have to summarize the evidence. Example, the evidence provided in the examples of the 3 Mile Island Nuclear Generating Station and Union Carbide would suggest that safety is worth the price. This is the reason why we have to write first the body before writing the conclusion. Because the conclusion should generalize what we have written in our body. And of course, the third is we have to leave a memorable message for the reader. A memorable message can be a call to action for your final words are what the reader will take away from the paper. So, when we say a call for action, a good example of this is this one. Certainly, if the lives of one's loved ones or of oneself are at stake, safety is worth whatever it costs. So, it is the responsibility of every worker to identify and eliminate safety hazards in the workplace. So, what is the call for action? That every worker needs to identify and eliminate safety hazards in the workplace. So let's now go to our concluding paragraph or conclusion by putting all these three characteristics together. Is the cost of safety worth the price a company must pay to ensure safety? The evidence provided in the examples of the 3 Mile Island Nuclear Generating Station and Union Carbide would suggest that safety is worth the price. Certainly, if the lives of one's loved ones or of oneself are at stake, safety is worth whatever it costs. So, it is the responsibility of every worker to identify and eliminate safety hazards in the workplace. So that concludes our discussion on the different parts of argumentative essay. I do hope that it will help you in writing your argumentative essay. Thank you for your time and attention. Again, this is Mrs. Christine Situano, your English teacher for the day. God bless everyone.